filled with shared stories, experiences and countless moments side by side. May I ask Lindsay to come and join me, please, as he shares Vic's story and a few of his memories with us.
Thank you all for joining us today. It's my privilege to tell you a bit about Victor. As Dan just indicated, he was my first boss. Word got around my school that I was leaving Boxall High School. I was only 14 years of age, year 9 I think it was, and it was the earliest that I could get out of the place. I wasn't into academia. I was a technical person. I wanted to do other things in my life. Headmaster called me to his office. "McCurdy, I hear you're leaving us. Where are you going to work?" "Oh," I said, "Mr. Lyons, I haven't arranged employment." "You're leaving school and you haven't got a job?" He walked over, put a telephone on the wall with a dial up. He dialed a number. He said, "Edward Duckett and Sons? Can I speak to Mr. Clark?" Mr. Clark, "I've got a boy here leaving school. He said he needs employment. Can you help me?" Mr. Clark must have said yes, because very soon he's hanging up the phone and he's right. He's given me his address. He said, "Tomorrow morning, I want you to go to Melbourne, up to Lonsdale Street, this address, ask for Mr. Clark." So I did. Next morning I was out in Blackburn. It was about 7 o'clock to get the train to get in the city by 8 o'clock. Walked up top of Lonsdale Street, come to this magnificent 3-storey building, marble front, granite, big black windows with gilt gold writing, "Edward Duckett and Sons." Very impressive. I went in and I was even more impressed. But inside, long oak counters go right down the side of the building, big glass showcases full of imported crockery and tools, a wide range of stuff from all over the world, anything you could call hardware. They even had surgical equipment. Very big stock. I walked past all these showcases and I found Mr. Clark's office. "Mr. Clark, you're the boy from Boxall High School." "Yes." "You're starting on Monday. What would you like us to pay you?" And this is exactly what he said. And there was no preamble, "Would you like to work in hardware or anything?" He said, "You'll be starting on Monday. Mr. Victor Wilson will be your boss, your manager. He's the manager of the showrooms here and he's in charge of all the country customers. You will be working for Victor Wilson. What would you like us to pay you?" He actually said that. I said, "Well, Mr. Clark, I don't know what the going rate is. Pay me whatever is the going rate." He said, "I'll tell you what, we'll pay you £4 a week, clear. You won't have to pay any income tax. We'll pay the income tax. In your pay packet will be £4. He said, "No, that's £2 for your mother, your 14 kids, £1 to go in the bank, and the other £1 for your fares and incidental expenses during the week." This is how authoritarian the firm was. It was a very old-fashioned firm. And that was the end. Oh no, then he called. He went to the door and, "Mr. Wilson!" And Vic came down in a dust coat. And he took the dust coat off quickly when he saw Mr. Clark. And he was in a beautiful 3-piece suit, gold chains, gold watch, white handkerchief in the pocket, dressed as if he was going to a wedding. And he shook my hand and he said, "Your name's Lindsay?" He said, "I'll be your boss and tutor." He said, "We're going to teach you wholesale hardware." And it turned out that they import stuff from all over the world. And they have big catalogues, actually beautiful catalogues. He showed me them briefly and he said, "Now I expect to see you here Monday morning, 8 o'clock. Okay, so off I went. Monday morning, 8 o'clock. I arrived, and Vic's standing just inside the door. And he's got a nice light grey dust coat on. He said, "Some of this hardware is a little bit dusty and it's coated in oil, so stuff that's imported by ship from overseas, so that won't rust. He said you'll have to clean it sometimes and put it on the shelves. He said we wouldn't want your mother have you coming home with your clothes soiled. So he put dust coat on his stars, brand new, down there, and he said, we'd like a cup of tea. And I said, I'm thinking, this is working, you know. So he takes me down to the tea room, he makes me a cup of tea. In a china cup and a saucer and a gold spoon. And then he said, oh, I apologise, Lindsay, I didn't ask you how you like your tea. Do you like milk? Sure. I said, oh, a little bit of milk would be nice. He got the milk and the sugar and stirred it for me. Sat there for a moment, and then he briefly explained what they do. It turned out they were importers, and they sold goods to hardware stores all over Victoria, all the big towns, Shepparton, Warhorse, Bendigo, all the big stores stocked a lot of Edward Duckett and Sons stock. That's his ledger there that I put there with his phone. Everything was done in printing. No pyros or fountain pens or anything. All pen and ink, beautiful copper plate handwriting in all the ledgers. All the accountants in the office they stood up all day. There were no chairs. They had a console like this that they stood at, and they stand there all day writing. It's a little bit inappropriate, but Vic insisted that I tell you this story. This happened after I'd been there about a year. There was another boy in Boxwell High, the name of Jim Davidson. In fact, Jim's daughters are here today, Claire and Louise. Thank you for coming on. Jim was an accountant, or training to be an accountant. He stood at one of these consoles all day with a book like that, writing invoices, accounts, very tedious, in my opinion, and in Vic's opinion. Vic said, I'm going to start things up for Jim. Now, I'm only telling this story because Vic insisted 4 weeks ago that I tell him. He said, you're going to tell them about today, aren't you? And I said, Vic, that's not appropriate for a funeral. And he looked me right in the eye and he said, you are my executor, my power of attorney, medical power of attorney. He said, I want you to tell this story. Vic, I said, I'm not sure, command. So, one of the day, he said, I'm going to smarten things up a bit for Jim. I said, what do you mean? He said, I'm going to drill a hole in the floor, through the wooden floor where he stands, right under his trouser there. I said, what's that going to do? He said, not what that's going to do, what I'm going to do. He said, I'm going to go down to the basement, I'm going to get a big syringe, industrial syringe, full of water, and I'm going to close to the hose, I'm going to fire it right up the leg of his pants. And he did. And lunchtime came, and he's got the drill, the big student on the lunch. He's drilling the hole. He said, where do you think he's down there? I said, that's about 30. He said, I want it right under his trouser leg. He said, well, we'll have to see on the day. He drilled the hole right through the basement, and then he put some sawdust in and applied it to the wax over. Jim came back after lunch, and he's standing at the desk, and I was fairly close, and I could see that he did have his trousers right over the hole. So I said to Vic, Vic went downstairs to the basement. Now, I don't know what happened. I can only presume that he drilled the thing, because, would you believe, the main office door opened, and Mr. Duckett, Arthur Duckett, came out of his office, and he walked over to Jim's desk, and he pushed Jim aside, and he was reading the interest he could put in the ledger, and I had no way of contacting him. We didn't have mobile phones. In fact, the whole company only had 2 phones. Can you believe that? So Jim was standing there, and Mr. Arthur Duckett, who Vic didn't like, there weren't many people in the world that Vic didn't like, but he coped with all the other directors and owners of the building. They were very old, they were over 80 years of age, and still coming to work every day. Anyway, as it happens, he's standing there, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm the only person who's going to get any kick out of this. Vic's not going to see what happens. The other staff didn't know about it. Jim certainly didn't know about it. Next thing, Mr. Duckett, and he looks right beside and then he shuffles away for the leg, and he's not getting back to his office. And Jim's standing there, a big pool of water on the floor. Jim's looking at the pool of water, and he thought he'd wet himself. Anyway, Vic's coming up the stairs now. Vic, I said, things went a bit pear-shaped. I said, when you were down there, Mr. Duckett came out of it. He said, Arthur Duckett? Oh, he couldn't have been more thrilled. He's not got Arthur Duckett. And he did. To this day, Arthur never knew. I'm sorry, Jim looking down, thought Mr. Duckett had wet himself. And when the story did come out, even Jim thought it was funny. He wouldn't have thought it was funny if he'd gone up to League of Kids fans. So perhaps that was meant to be. Now, I hope you enjoy that because Vicky insisted on doing this. Now, Vic was a gentleman, as I said before. He loved the opera, live theatre. He never married. But he was very comfortable in the company of women. He used to take girls to the opera and properly bring the high car, get the high car to park in the back of Duckett so the managers wouldn't see it because they even know on the tram. They had beautiful homes interacting. They'd got a tram or a train home. And they went out the front door, fixed it out the back into the high car, and he'd pick up the lady, he'd take her to the top restaurants in Melbourne, and Vic was one of those people that knew all the owners and head waiters and that at the office. They knew who we went. He knew them by name. We'd converse with them, get the best table. He was that type of gentleman. And he'd take them then off to the opera, and they'd be out in the dress circle, best seats. He loved Dame Nellie Melba, the Australian opera singer. He followed her life happily. He had records collection, you couldn't jump over of her records, and all the other operas on my head. He's got a shit at the back. We were looking at it the other day and amazed at his collection. He'd take the opera, and after the opera they'd go to another restaurant, one downstairs in Common Street, a very elegant place. Again, he knew the people there, and they'd get him the best table. So anyone that had a night out was Vic, had a really good night out. He knew all the customers, of course, at Duckett. These men used to come in, and there was one chair in the whole place. It was for visiting representatives and owners of hardware stores at Victoria. Again, he knew everyone. No matter where they came from, he greeted them by the first name. He knew their wives' names. He'd talk about their town, their hardware store. And then all the time he's taking orders from them on one of those big ledgers. And he was a marvellous employee, actually, for the firm. He was so good. They had Australian suppliers who used to send what we today would call celebrities in here. Top football players, top professional golf players, tennis players. They would be representing their company, and they would come in, and they would get to sit in this seat, and Vic would go up and chat with them, make them a cup of tea, the latest newspaper there, the Argus of the age, for them to read, and he'd chat with them, and he'd take any brochures they had and so forth. One day, after he'd been talking to one man, the man went out and said, "Lindsay, you know where that was, don't you?" I said, "I'm sorry, Mr. Wilson, no." I was like, "Oh, Lindsay, you surely, it's Ken Hands." He said, "The Carlton football captain." I said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I don't know. We're going to have to improve your general knowledge." He said, "That man was captain for 99 games. He said he was the captain of 2 premierships in 1945, 1947, all in his head." He said, "You didn't know?" "I'm sorry, I heard the name. I knew it would get hands to the football." "Oh," I said, "Lindsay, we're going to have to work on your general knowledge." It hadn't been invented. He he has too. He's not anything to do with the past. The old steam engines and railways. He used to travel Victoria. Any time there was a meeting where the used to hire a train, he would be on it. And he took me a couple of times. Went distance and right up to Mildura and all different places. And Vic knew every railway station in Victoria in sequence, every line. You could say to Vic, how many stations are there in Melbourne to Lakes Entrance? He'd tell you. And then he'd name the stations, places I'd never heard. And he was amazed that I didn't know them. He said, everybody knows. I said, no, everybody doesn't know. That's how he was. He could be meticulous even in his private hobbies. He took his parents by taxi up and around Victoria. They had no car. Parents were quite poor, actually. Their father had sadly been injured in the war and he lost his voice box and was big. Rather feeble man, but he was a lovely person. Vic used to take them by taxi and go right to Eildon and Weir. And sometimes they'd put the taxi driver up in a hotel and all stay overnight and go travel further out of Victoria. Extensive knowledge of Victoria, but Vic never crossed the borders of Victoria in his life. He never even went over to Albury. He never certainly never went to Tasmania. But he knew Victoria like the back of his hand. To my certain knowledge, he hasn't even visited Melbourne for the last 45 years. The Westgate Bridge in Melbourne wasn't built when Vic last saw it. I said, what's the tallest building in Melbourne? Oh, it's a National Museum. It's 27 stories. His man said he was supposed to be mine. I said, Vic, there's a building on Docklands, 100 stories. There's one going up next door that proposed to be 102. He couldn't get his head around that at all. He said, no, the National Museum is 27 stories. He even named the year. That's how he was. What else can I tell you about him? He was very good to me and Jim and another guy by the name of Bob Reed. He would take us to the pictures. We went to this opera again. The same thing applied. He'd take us to a restaurant first for good meals, then off to the movies, best seats. And then after the movie, we went downstairs to this place in Collins Street that he knew, and they'd greet him. He'd say, I've got some gentlemen here from work, and we would have a nice supper, and we did. He had a good life. He indulged himself a bit because he could. He never married, he didn't have to buy a house. He did own 2 cars briefly. The Duncan brothers, when they bought a new car, they sold him their earlier old Packard. He had a 28 Packard, a 34 Packard, but they sold him fairly cheaply. He had them in the backyard, but he rarely used them. He wasn't a driver or enthusiastic about driving. His sister did. I must tell you about Sadie, his older sister. Sadie was the diametric opposite to Victor. Sadie travelled the world. She partied, but sadly she was a bit hard of hearing and she got very bad in the later years. And Vic living with her, nobody else in the house, they had a bit of a love-hate relationship. They tolerated each other. And Vic used to yell at her. He used to yell, silly old moon, she goes pretending she can't hear. I said, Victor, she can't hear. But she was switched on. She bought a computer. And she got involved in the National Hearing Service and supplied amplified telephone. And she was switched on. And Vic said, computers, he said, they're just a fad. They'll never take on. He got that wrong. But she was into the latest technology and kept her in touch with the world. She was able to talk to her friends. But again, a lovely person. She was buried here 10 years ago. And that was a nice funeral too. But other than that, there's lots more I could tell you, but I come away with saying that he was a very generous loving person. Oh, his neighbours, I must mention Fran and Helen and Catherine. I shouldn't say his nicknames, but the closest neighbours, very good to Vic all his life. They did his shopping, his banking. His banking wasn't easy. He only had a passport right till the day he died. We took it into the bank and we said, can we get some credit cards connected to this account so that the ladies helping him can do his shopping and his medical supply. The bank said, that's a passport, that's ancient, that's not connected to our system. I said, how do he, they said when he went shopping, he went to the bank with the passport, he got cash out of the bank, and then he went to the supermarket and paid cash. And right up, as I say, until the day he died. And we've had a bit of fun with the bank getting it converted into a net bank account now, so that it's accessible. Anyway, that was typical of the old world. I think they used to describe them as WASPs, white Anglo-Saxon Protestants. Would that be offensive? That's what he was. He couldn't handle a Catholic Church, ancient Presbyterian thinking. His father, when he came to Australia, he came up a disgraceful system that the UK government and the Australian government had arranged to send orphan boys or poor boys from the UK to Australia to work for free on plants. Right across Australia, but heavily in Victoria. The Vic's name, Wilson, is actually an allocated name. He doesn't know the true family name. But Leonard Wilson, his father, made good. He went to Ballarat, he was assigned to a farm in Ballarat. He was one of the lucky ones. He got paid. He got paid some shillings a week. Shillings are less than $1, I might add. And he got paid $1 a week, and he made good because he met a young lady in Ballarat, Alice Emma Gunn was her name. She'd come to Australia with her parents freely, and they were also on a farm. They'd come much earlier, and he met up with Miss Alice. Eventually they married, and Alice had a rich Scottish background. Her family, the Gunn clan, came from the very top of Scotland, a little town called Thurso. It's right up in the Arctic Circle. And the clan Gunn, she came on, was very big in Scotland. And Vic latched on to the fact that he had a heritage. Sadie went across to Thurso. And she got into the public records office and she got readings of historical data on the Gunn family. And Vic put them in all through. He was Scottish to the bootstraps. And he had all this family genealogical information to read, which he did. He showed me many times. And he was a royalist. I can't tell you how much he loved being alive for the whole 70 years of Queen Elizabeth II's reign. That was the bonus of his life. He subscribed to the Buckingham Palace News. It's a magazine that comes out every 3 months, a glossy magazine, all the royal news. He didn't get his news from the grubby newspapers. He read the official documents that were released by Buckingham Palace every 3 months. He had a pile of them. So he copied that. I had to read it one. Pretty interesting reading. But it was a different story to what you get in the newspaper. The old Queen's appointments and knighthoods and everything listed. And no one was more patriotic than Leonard Wilson. He should have got a knighthood too. There's some of his music is going to be playing later, I think. That's about all I can tell you now without boring you. The Sullivan Band said before the seminar, I'd like you to talk for 15 minutes or better. I said, I don't want to bore people. She said, no, you'll find it easy to talk about a man like that for 15 minutes. So I think I might have exceeded my time. So thanks again to all of you for joining us on this sad but happy day. Right.
you to speak? Oh, okay. Thank you. As long as I take time away from Robert, no, you stay. I did ask Robert to do this for me, but I'll just go ahead. So, dear Vic, this is on behalf of our neighbourhood, our friends, and obviously Louise and Catherine, Susan, people that were Carmel, who were instrumental, especially in his last days. So I'll just read from there. Dear Vic, we thank you for your open door policy, reliable cup of tea, a proper cup of tea, I should say. Also always welcoming us. I better stand unless it was 6 o'clock and your beloved Vera or an English program was still on, then it would be just put the kettle on. Your days of walking Ben and visiting the dog park became difficult too soon. The days of finding you in your castle grounds, chopping wood, building fires, doing gardening became too difficult too soon. When asked Vic, how are you? It was simple. Simple reply, I'm alright, it's just these damn knees that are giving me the problem. No good in saying more than that, love. Vic did not complain. Rather, he would share stories and favourite times and people. Times like being at Lucas's Cafe, enjoying a steak while gathering with his Duckett's crew, his mates. I'm so sorry, didn't expect to be shaky. Proudly of his life, his long friends, proud of his lifelong friendships and feeling blessed, especially with Jim, his best mate, a brother like love. Vic grieved with a heavy heart, but as a soldier he went on. It was a strong Vic who never complained about his own medical journey. He would describe his circumstances as that more fortunate than his father's. Vic steadfast in manner, only wavered at times by the frustration of drooling, as it's a damn nuisance. Vic would not refer to his own setbacks. Instead, he would speak of courage of his father and his dedication of his mother. Surrendered he had, it was easy, as these setbacks were so vastly taken by his father. Vic's self-can-do attitude came at a young age. As he shared the story of gathering firewood, he has often recited his mother's words. Vic, you're a young man, and you will need to manage for yourself. Indeed, Vic did just that all through his life, right till the end. Only a little bit more to go. Being in Vic's circle means you had a loyal friend, a treasured story you will hear. Vic had insightfulness into human nature, honest and kind. As bold as he could be on matters like using the correct tableware, Vic would always be an honourable confidant who was completely present with you when topics were shared. Vic, your caring heart and priceless laugh will be missed. Our furry friends like Ginger, Charlie and Bella will miss you. Thank you for your affection and sweet biscuits. Vic, you shared such courage and determination when faced with any of life's challenges. It was a privilege to have you trust us to send you home. On the 21st of April, Vic, be assured there will be a heated pot and a brewed cup of tea in memory of you, our dear friend, Vic. Your hospitality and friendship will never be forgotten. We are grateful to have known you, and we pray you rest in peace. Thank you.
We were going going to have an open mic, but we are running close to time. But I believe Robert would like to say a couple of words. So may I invite Robert forward, please, and invite others who have stories to tell to do so over refreshments. Thank you.
G'day everyone. For those that don't know, I was Vic's handyman and gardener. And every day, well actually at the start there, I said to him one day, is there any jobs that you would like me to do around the place? I actually restocked his house, that's how I got to know him. So I'm cutting the story short. I restocked his house, got to know him, and then I said to him, "You've got any jobs for me?" He brought out this list. Right, it's going to be forever, which it was. So he used to make me a roast lunch every day. Me, Sadie, and Vic would sit down and we'd have our roast, and we would talk for about 2 hours with a cup of tea. And he used to tell me all about the days of Duckets with Lindsay and Jim, and some funny stories. One of those stories, I think, is probably the funniest story that he told me. When he nearly killed his boss. He was told by his boss to go and clean the floor in one of the rooms. You remember this one?
I do, he told me last week.
Anyway, he gets down there because he's got to do things right, and he polished that floor with some wax, and it was shining like a mirror. Later on that day, the boss walked in and fell on his back. He thought he was going to get the sack, but he actually got pay rise, which is amazing. But anyway, yeah, he also told me about the day that, I don't know if Lindsay was there that day or not, but they put him in Sadie's bathing suit. Do you remember that day? No? Well, they dressed him up in Sadie's bathing suit. And you can imagine, because Sadie was only short and Vic was pretty tall, things would have been a bit tight. But I don't know if that was the same day, they took him over to the footy oval and they tied him down to the ground and waited for the sprinklers to come. They gave him some good, but so there was some fantastic stories over the years that he told me. It got to the point there where he couldn't make the roast anymore because Sadie had passed away and he couldn't eat it anymore. So instead of making me a roast, he'd make me a steak and chips. And this went on to the end and still today. So,
How many years, Rob, have you worked?
I think it was early 2000, so I think it was like 2004 I started there.
Yeah.
So he kept that list going and never stopped. Yeah, so, and like I was just a worker at the start, but we became like best mates. And as much as he liked me going in, I loved going in myself. And, so he wanted to pay me, and half the time if he forgot, I'd just go home and not say anything. But he remembered. The next week, you didn't take your money, and he made sure I got the money. That was big. He was so generous, and what else can you say? He was fantastic in that way. And I'm so glad that I was there the day that he passed. And it's like we all happened to turn up at the same time, and it's like he was waiting for us to all come, and we got to say goodbye. And, I'm going to miss the old bugger. Thank you very much.
One more speaker.
Hi everyone. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Natalie. I'm Kevin and Helen Burns' daughter. I'm reading this on behalf of Dad, who can't be here today. Mum and Dad have known Vic, probably similar to Lindsay, over sort of 60 years or so. So Dad's written this. He's in a nursing home up in Painesville, so I felt it was really important that I read it out today. So we were first introduced to Vic through his sister Sadie about 50 to 60 years ago. So he began a long and endearing friendship with them both. Vic loved to talk about his experiences, both past and present, particularly about his employment at Duckett's, as we've heard. He always enjoyed recalling his time there, and his memory was remarkable. As we all know, Vic and some of his friends had a strong interest in trains, and would often go down to the station and watch the trains go by. And Dad says he has it on good authority that at times Vic would board the train, place a microphone down the toilet to record the clickety-clack of the wheels on the track. The tram in the Wilson's backyard also contained a model train set, which later moved to one of the garages in the property. Vic also loved to entertain, and no visit to Erickson Street would be without a cup of tea in the finest china, sandwiches, cakes and chocolates. One visit, however, was very special, and Vic, with great delight, produced a plate of scallops. Unfortunately, nobody told Vic that scallops needed cooking. Vic's dog Ben was a very special part of his life, providing constant companionship and brightened every day. In Ben's younger day, he would make sure we all left the property, barking us out the door. Vic was a collector of many things, treasured all things from the past, and to walk into Erickson Street was to step back in time. I would like to take this time also to make special mention to Vic's dear neighbours for the years of care, companionship. Vic spoke so highly of you all, especially in the later days, going above and beyond to ensure Vic's wishes were met in his final days. Thank you. Vic was a lifelong friend and will be sadly missed, but he's forever now with his dad. Thank you.
Robert alluded to, in those last few days, several neighbours were in and out doing little things they'd always done for him. And on that final day, a number of them happened to be there. Vic, with his strong Presbyterian Scottish faith, had turned to his religion and prayed that his time had come. There is great comfort in knowing that his prayer was answered and his wish granted. We'll now take a few moments for personal reflection. As you listen, you're reminded of Vic's love of music and in particular his admiration for Dame Millie Melba. It feels fitting to honour him with this recording of her singing Claire de Lune, and we are going to see a few photos whilst this plays. Thank you.
Thank you.
As we draw this part of the service for Vic today for a close, we take a moment to reflect on his life, a life that was in so many ways both simple and richly detailed. For much of Vic's life, he shared that family home with his sister Sadie. They had the kind of relationship only siblings can, sometimes close, sometimes testing, but always bound by love. Within those boundaries, he created a life that was entirely his own, filled with passions, routines, and friendships that shaped him into the man you remember today. With a handful of close friends whom he appreciated deeply, people like Fran, who helped with shopping, Helen, who we heard from earlier, who looked after his admin for him, and Tim Davidson, his lifelong best friend. In his neighbourhood, he was cared for and respected. He was always a gentleman and in so many ways an old world character. He preferred servicing shops to the self-serve counters of today. He liked to reminisce about the good old days. He valued the kind of respect, dignity and manners that are sometimes harder to find in the modern world. Vic loved a good cup of tea served in fine china. I think Helen mentioned that as well. A very occasional glass of Stone's green ginger wine. Simpson's chocolates, which were by appointment to Her Majesty the Queen, and often given to him by his very close friend Jim Davidson, and he delighted in the small rituals and comforts of daily life. He was an avid supporter of the Richmond Football Club, but it was the theatre that was his greatest love. He was many things, a gentleman and a gentleman, a royalist of the most devoted kind, a man of fine taste, a theatre goer, a collector, a neighbour, a brother, and an incredibly loyal friend. We close this part of the proceedings for Vic today with a poem that has brought comfort to many in times of loss. This poem, He Is Gone, written by David Harkins, became widely known when the version She Is Gone was sent to his favourite royal, Queen Elizabeth II, on the death of her mother. Given that Vic was a genuine royalist, as Lindsay mentioned, it seemed the most appropriate choice to close this part. You can shed tears that he is gone, or you can smile because he has lived. You can close your eyes and pray that he'll come back, or you can open your eyes and see all that he has left. Your heart can be empty because you can't see him, or you can be full of the love you shared. You can turn your back on tomorrow and live yesterday, or you can be happy for tomorrow because of yesterday. You can remember him and only that he has gone, or you can cherish his memory and let it live on. You can cry and close your mind, be empty and turn your back, or you can do what you would want. Smile, open your eyes, love, and go on. As I mentioned earlier, given the inclement weather, we will do some of the committal here in the chapel. So if I may ask you to stand, please, those who are able, as we move to this part of the ceremony. They are not dead who leave us this great heritage of remembering joy. They still live in our hearts, in the happiness we knew and in the dreams that we shared. They still breathe in the lingering fragrance wind-blown from their favourite flowers. They still smile in the moonlight silver and laugh in the sunlight sparkling gold. They still speak in the echoes of the words we've heard them say again and again. They still move in the rhythm of waving grasses and the dance of the tossing branches. They are not dead. Their memory is warm in our hearts and comfort in our sorrow. They are not apart from us, but a part of us, because love is eternal, and those we love will be with us throughout all eternity. We came together as Vic's friends to celebrate this great heritage of remembering joy that he leaves you with his passing, and to reflect on some of your own memories of the times you've spent with him. You comfort each other in your grief, and you honour the life Vic led. As you hold him in your hearts and memories from this day forward, you commit yourselves to carrying Vic with you always. You honour his memory by the following promises: to treat your friends and family members the way that Vic did, with a caring heart and with honest interaction. To move through life with compassion, thoughtfulness and dignity, and the commitment to holding your hearts open to allow others into your lives.